Website Crawler 3 is a powerful application that can crawl hundreds of thousands of websites and extract any information you want from them. Now before I continue, I'm just going to press run so you can watch this while I talk. Website Crawler 3 is a UBot Studio source code that is available for professional and developer users. It only uses 2 free plugins, so there's nothing else to buy. For customers of version 1 and 2, a link on how to upgrade is below this video. For all customers of Website Crawler, this is source code. That means that you can learn from it, you can modify it, you can sell it. Once you purchase this source code, it is your property and you have all rights to it. Website Crawler 3 also comes with a source code video where I explain everything that you need to know, including how to modify the internal system to scrape whatever you want. There's only one command in the source code that you have to modify for most changes. And if you want to drastically change things like the database, then there's still only a couple of spots that you need to modify. It's pretty easy, and I point out what you need to change if you want to make major modifications. Now, Website Crawler 3 has a lot more features than the original, and so now I want to walk you through the features that you see in the UI. There's actually a lot more going on under the hood, and I explain, at least at a high level, the engine that powers getting the internal links to feed this hungry crawler. Alright, so this is about to finish up here. And so that was a really small and basic run of IamAutobots so that you can see what's going on and how this works. I'm going to explain all this stuff, but I just wanted to start it up first and get some results flowing. So I'm actually just going to pull up the database here. And I talk about all this in the source code video. So the database has a few tables in it. This is an error table. And we're going to get an error because of the page that we're going to. We're not supposed to be there. And here we can see we've processed 52 different URLs. And we can look in the results here. And right now it's just looking for external domains, and that does include subdomains like network.ubotstudio.com. And so it's gonna tell us the result as well as the page that it first found the result on. So that was, like I said, a small run. Now let's look at some of the features here. So in our input, we have the seed list. This is gonna be the sites that you want to crawl. So I could put imautobots.com, and then maybe when I'm done with that, elitebotters.com. Now I prefer if you were using the secure connection, but don't worry because this actually figures that all out for you. So you could actually not put in HTTP here if you wanted to, and it would still know what to go to. Here's your proxy list. It's going to be in the standard IP port username, password if you got them, stick them on the end like that. There's your proxy list. Now in the original, it could only use one proxy. In this one, it will use a whole list and it will cycle through them for each thread. And if an error happens, it's going to retry the page with a new proxy as well in case there was a proxy error. Now here's a new feature in version 3. We have a whitelist and a blacklist, and this is going to give you a powerful filtering ability. The whitelist is something that it must contain these things, okay? So let's say I have pizza and tacos. Okay, so let's say I have pizza and tacos. If I choose the URL for the whitelist, that means that the URL must contain the word pizza or the word tacos. And if it doesn't, we're not going to save the data from that page. We're still going to get the internal URLs because, again, we need to keep feeding this hungry crawler. So we're going to get those internal URLs in case it finds any new URLs, but it will not save the data from the page unless it contains one of these. And right now, the filtering options are URL, title, or inner text. So you could say, does pizza or tacos exist somewhere on the page at all? Now we also have a blacklist. And so the blacklist means that the page must not contain these things. So I could say delivery. And let's say that I wanted it to be the URL. So for the whitelist, we could say the URL must contain pizza, but it cannot contain delivery. If it contains pizza and delivery, we don't save the results from this page. So that's what this filter is doing. It's allowing you to create different scenarios in which you might want to filter out certain things so that you can save better data and more specific data. Let me give you another quick example. Let's say you wanted the page to contain Proxy List in the title, but you didn't want it to say socks. Let's say in the URL. So you want it to be a proxy list, but you don't want it to be a socks proxy list. That would be an example of how you can filter out pages using this system. Now, another new feature we have in version 3 is the ability to scrape using regular expressions. So instead of using whatever is programmed into the internal engine, like right now it's programmed to scrape external domains, that is super easy to change. I show you how to do it in the source code video. And if you run into any problems at all, it's so easy. Just send me an email at sales@elitebotters.com and I will help you with it. Now, scraping the regex, though, bypasses the internal system. So you don't even have to go into the internal system to start changing code in order to scrape something like email, phone number, etc. All you need to do is tick this box, choose the one you want, and it will create the regular expression in here for you. Now, one thing I want to mention though is that you can put any regular expression you want in here. So you could say, I want to get the year for some reason. You could say, give me numbers between 4 and 4 in length, basically, is what that's saying. And so it would give you numbers like, 2000, 2018, etc., etc. Those would be some of the results that would pop up. So instead of having to go through the internals, you could simply select one of these options and then you can customize the regular expression right here. Now in the options down here, we have the ability to remove query, which I'll explain in a minute. We have the thread count, which is the number of threads you want the program to use. We have the page timeout, which is how long you want the program to wait before you get a timeout error. You can set the user agent here. So if you wanna set your own user agent, or if you wanna try and emulate a browser user agent, you can set that here. And then we have the extension filter. So what this is going to do is it's going to allow us to filter out bad extensions. Like we don't want to be scraping pages that are CSS files. We don't want to be scraping images and trying to look for links in there. So this is going to filter out any kind of bad extensions, and you can quickly and easily modify it right from the UI if you want. Now finally, we have the results panel. It's going to tell you how many pages it crawled, how many threads are being used, what's the result count, what seed URL it's currently on, and of course, you can save the results as well to a CSV file. Now, even if you modify the database, you don't even have to modify the saved results because it's smart enough to save it no matter how many columns are in the results table in the database. So I want to talk about remove query real quick, and then I want to talk about some more about this regex thing because it's really powerful. So remove query, what does that mean? That means that whenever there's a question mark at the end of a URL, and then there might be something like query equals keyword, something like that. Well, in a lot of cases, this could end up in a lot of duplication of URLs with different queries, but for the same URL. However, in some cases, you might have something like a WordPress website that does use some kind of structure, like a query is a post ID, so perhaps these are different posts. So depending on what sites you're scraping, you may or may not want to remove the query. So this is actually a really powerful option that's going to allow you to remove a lot of unnecessary duplicate URLs. But in some cases, you'll want to use it. By default, it's checked, and I recommend leaving it checked unless you have a reason to uncheck it. So what is this scrape regex stuff? So let me show you an example on IamAutobots. In this case, the file is looking for JPEG or PNG, but I do know there's zip files. and I am out of bots. So I'm gonna look for some zip files. I'm gonna increase the thread count so we don't have to wait forever, and tick scrape using regex. So we're not using the internal system anymore looking for these external domains anymore. Instead, now what we're doing is we're scraping using regular expression, and then we are going to look for zip files. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so I finished. I'm going to reload this. And as you can see, now we only have 2 results. And we have 2 zip files that we found. But they're both found on this blog. All right. Now, maybe I don't like the idea of finding things on that URL. Let's say that was like a bad URL, like a adult themed URL or something, and I didn't want that. So that was in the blacklist. So let's put blog in the blacklist now and go ahead and do another run, and let's just see what happens. All right, so that run finished. Once again, we do have 2 results. But remember that we had blog in the blacklist, so they couldn't have come from here. And they're actually coming from my author page now. But maybe Nick was a bad word too. Let's just see what happens now. Maybe I don't want Nick in the URL. Okay, now let's have a look at our results. And now as you can see, all of a sudden we have different pages again. And these are the actual blog posts now where these were posted to. So as you can see, we were able to change the behavior of how the crawler works without having to go into the code at all. That's the power of using these filtering systems and being able to just put regular expressions right here, or choosing one and modifying it. That's the power that Website Crawler 3 has right out of the box. You can use powerful filtering techniques by filtering through the URL, the title, or the inner text. And you can use different regular expressions. You can write your own regular expressions. You can modify some of the built-in ones to do whatever you want. And you don't even have to go into the code. But if you do have to go into the code, it's very simple. There's literally one command that you have to change if you want to modify things. And then if you really want to go above and beyond and start adding your own columns into the table and things like that, then you can do that. And then there's about 3 places you have to modify. But I show you exactly where to do that in the source code video. Now, finally, you're probably going to want to save the results. So let's go ahead and click that, and we'll just save it to the desktop, and we'll say, results.csv, and the results are going to be in CSV files. And what this is going to do is it is going to simply take whatever columns are in your results table. So even if you add more, and it's basically just going to make it into a CSV file. So these are the files it found. These are the pages it found them on. All right, so this has been Website Crawler 3. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know.